Hello and welcome back to a Property Investor News exclusive interview with Oliver Steele-Perkins. Oliver, thank you for joining us again. Now, we spoke a bit about your background and how you got into property, and now thank you for letting us on. We're actually on one of your live projects at the moment.
Yes.
So can you tell us where we are, what in the earth we're in the middle of, and what you're project managing?
Yeah, sure. So we're in West London. I do a lot of my work here. And this is a residential home project for a homeowner. We've done a large basement which was procured separately on a separate contract to the fit-out process, which is now happening on site. The basement was procured to London Basement Company, who do a lot of work in London, and they did a fantastic job here over the period of 46 weeks. They excavated about 100 square metres of new foot space to the building. That generated waste of about 1,200 cubic metres. That space was finished on time and in December last year. And at that point, they handed over to the fit-out contractors who are on site, and we'll see some of their work today.
Fantastic. So in terms of a project like this, you break it down, don't you? You chunk it down into 3 different stages. Can you tell us a bit about those 3 stages of project management that you look at and kind of talk us through those stages?
Yeah, so the first stage is pre-construction. That's a very big stage. It's crucial to the project. It involves months of work from professional design team, and it does cost thousands of pounds to whoever's leading that project. As you say, we break it down into stages. The first thing we do is produce a pre-construction program, and that ultimately is setting out the start date of the project. And during that process, we're going through the design. We're getting all the consents we need for the build. We're going out to tender and getting the best prices back for the client, and then we're going into the contract stage and agreeing the program of the build. So that's essentially pre-construction. The second stage is the build, and that in itself we obviously want the build program for. And during the build, we have to continue with design. We have to deal with any of the consents that are in place to make sure we're compliant with them. So there could be planning conditions. There could be things like party wall awards and conditions relating to that. If we're working inside a block of flats, there could be conditions imposed by the managing agents and licenses. And the process goes on, and as a project manager, what we're looking to do is obviously keep the project on track. We facilitate the whole process by making sure information flows back to site, so we'll be responding for requests for information from contractors, and as I say, keeping that moving. We'll receive requests from contractors for their payments, which will then verify those, hold retentions back, which is all part of the contract, and then advise our clients on payments that they need to be making. So that's a crucial part of the build stage, which controls cost and monitors obviously the progress on the programme against the cost as well. And we handle variations of work, which is a big part of building. It's something that should be in a contingency when we look at our costs up front, but we have to manage those efficiently on site, because when they arise, what we don't want to happen is them to slow up the build programme. So we'll keep that moving as well. And then the last stage is post-build, which I guess a lot of people think, well, what goes on post-build? But actually, there's all the certifications that we need to get. So the key one is getting to practical completion. And when we've hit that point, the contractors essentially have finished their contract work, but we then need to make sure all the certificates are in place to ultimately achieve our final certificate from building control. And that final certificate will essentially allow people to either sell the property on with the relevant documentation, or refinance it, or get to a position of being able to raise a mortgage.